house.
So by now, you've likely heard Sonos has released a new lineup of speakers, the Era 300 and the Era 100. I've been using them every day since launch and they're fascinating to say the least. They're both redesigned speakers inside and out, and after over a month of use, I think I have to say that the Era lineup may just be the new gold standard in enjoying music and audio than ever before. Yes, it's really that good. Hey friends, hope you're well. Let's go over the new features including spatial audio, the differences between these two new speakers, how it compares to older Sonos speakers like the Sonos One here, and if they're worth the upgrade. And for complete transparency, Sonos is kindly sponsoring this video, but opinions are still my own. Let's start with the differences between the Era 300 and 100 because although they share the same DNA, there's important key differences you'll want to consider. The most obvious difference other than its design is the price, $249 for the Era 100 and almost double for the Era 300 at $449. The Era 100's design is akin to the original Sonos One, and that's because the Era 100 is a direct successor to the Sonos One. I'll be sure to compare the two speakers later in this video because I previously loved my Sonos One. The Era 300 on the other hand sports a completely unique look. And I'll be honest, I was worried that it'd look odd and out of place with its flamboyant, wavy look, but out of the box, it's actually quite attractive and has grown on me ever since. And by the way, on a side note, the unboxing experience with Sonos products is just a chef's kiss. They're quite well packaged and I like the minimalistic look. When it comes to the features, both speakers are almost identical. They both have Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth 5.0 support, USB-C line-in, much welcomed additions, and future-proofs the new speakers. Here is the largest difference that, in my opinion, warrants the price jump. While the Era 100 is stereo only, the Era 300 supports Dolby Atmos and spatial audio content. This is why so many have been excited for the new speakers, and I can confirm it's orgasmic. But let's not get ahead of ourselves because there's some great design changes with these new speakers which I think we should take a look into before we get into the audio performance later in the video. For both the Era 100 and 300, there's this new recessed bar at the top to control volume, and it's been enjoyable to swipe left and right rather than tap aggressively to lower or increase volume. And both touch controls seem to be more responsive to use than my Sonos One or Sonos Move. I think Sonos has done a really good job here modernizing the controls without completely changing them. Thankfully, they do have tactile buttons for both the Bluetooth and the microphone on and off button. Both also have inbuilt microphones. Nothing new about this, but what is new is the Quick Tune feature, which is a tweaked version of the company's famous TruePlay tuning, which uses the microphones. Basically, it's a version of tuning that doesn't require an iPhone to begin the process, so that's a win for Android users. So the perk here with quick tuning is, well, it's quick. When I tested it, it was a single tap in the app, and after 15 to 20 seconds, the speaker was tuned. But TruePlay is still where it's truly at. The process does take a little longer, but it optimizes the audio for the environment that you're in. And turning TruePlay on and off over the last few weeks, there is a noticeable difference with both speakers. It's not a huge difference, but it's definitely audibly noticeable. The new design of the Era speakers look classy. I think they accessorize well with homes or even the office studio interior aesthetic that I have here. Okay, so let's talk about the sound performance. They're both beyond incredible, but let's focus a little more on the Era 300 here because this speaker is extra special. When I first played a song on the speaker, and it so happened to be Japan by Throttle, yes, Rocket League inspired for you gamers out there, I got shivers. The clarity in the mids through to the highs is a big leap from previous Sonos speakers that I've used, and the bass is chest-thumpingly loud. The standout element is spatial audio, which by the way is simply the term used when there's more than 2 audio channels, i.e. stereo, and it usually is based off the Dolby Atmos formats. When playing songs that support spatial audio, great ones being The Weeknd's Can't Feel My Face and Tiesto's Boom, there is more degrees of separation you can hear compared to stereo sound. And if you ever experience spatial audio on AirPods, you have a decent idea of what spatial audio might feel like and sound like, but it's a whole other experience on speakers, and it's been a real joy to discover my favorite tracks on the speaker over the last month. I'm keen to experience more spatial audio supported tracks on this speaker, so if you have any suggestions, please comment them below. So yeah, spatial audio is supported on the Era 300 thanks to the 6 speaker drivers and 4 tweeters in various positions, and finally an upward firing speaker to create that audio height immersion. And placement of the Era speakers is really important, so pro tip, based on just personal testing and Sonos's recommendations, the best place for your Sonos Era speaker is usually in a corner at listening height, 1 foot away from you and slightly tilted towards the listener. TruePlay tuning should handle the rest. Another important fact and tip is to make sure that you've updated your Sonos to software 15.2 so you're able to stream Dolby Atmos tracks from Apple Music and Amazon Music, for example, and unfortunately for Spotify users, Dolby Atmos isn't yet supported. Moving to the Era 100, I think a direct comparison isn't fair since it's lacking Atmos and spatial audio, but it does hold its own. The same songs that I played on the 300 still play well on the 100. Audio is balanced with lighter bass and its sound signature is pleasant for everyday listening. It's also relatively loud for its compact size too. Although it lacks the incredible spatial audio, it's arguably top of its class for stereo sound at this size. Like if you were just to close your eyes and just listen, it sounds like 2 separate speakers from almost any angle. I believe the way that it works is this speaker has 2 waveforms where 2 tweeters direct music out from various different angles to give off this multi-speaker effect. Just not in the sort of extra dimensional way you experience with the Era 300 and spatial audio though. But yeah, the Era 100 for the price is solid and a worthy successor to the Sonos One. And speaking of the Sonos One, it's interesting to compare the Era speakers to its older counterparts. The Era 100 is physically similar to the One, but just slightly taller and with its new trademark recessed volume bar. But it sounds significantly better and more punchy with tracks thanks to the extra tweeter and a 25% larger mid-woofer. Take a listen to this in comparison. I'll also compare my Sonos Move that I love with the Era 300, but both are quite different speakers, but I thought, hey, may as well compare them anyway. Surprisingly, the Move sounds like it has more bass, while the 300 has that more sort of eloping sound that's wider. Take a listen to this. Let's not forget though that the Move is battery powered and a portable speaker, so they're 2 very different speakers, but it's interesting to see that the Move keeps up its own, at least when it comes to stereo music. For spatial capable music, and particularly on Apple's lossless music, the Era 300 is clearly superior. You know, it's been really hard to fault these new lineup of speakers over the last month. The only gripes I had are minor. The fact that the smudges and dust is evident on the black at least, and the lack of Google Voice Assistant and the split design of the Era 300, which is kind of subjective anyway. Overall, the Era 300 is the new gold standard in spatial audio speakers, and the Era 100 improves on the already great Sonos One. They've been a joy to use every day, and speakers that will likely, with time, get better as artists and musicians embrace spatial audio over stereo. I would imagine that the Sonos 5 is being kept around for the highest quality stereo focused speakers, which is still overall louder, bassier, and the king of stereo speakers. And in my opinion, I think it would make sense for a Sonos Era 500 to be eventually introduced though, but who knows. The Era 100 is the perfect starting point to enter into the world of Sonos, a world that's incredibly easy to set up, use, and sounds brilliant. The Era 300 offers even more immersive sound through Atmos and spatial audio that needs to be experienced in person. and I can't wait to potentially get another one of these to set them up as a stereo pair. And if you made it to the end of this video, drop the code word comment Spatial and I'll give it a like, and drop your song recommendations below. And as always, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video.